Hello everybody, this is Cody coming at you with a little bit of a logo critique. A friend of mine sent this in. His name's Jabril, and he is currently attending St. Cloud Technical and Community College for Marketing and Design. And it looks like he's working with a new client through the Northway Group, which is a really unique program they offer there. Highly recommend it. Not biased or anything, but I was CEO for a year, so it makes me like it a little bit. It's a really good experience, and you get to work with real clients, and you're still a student, and it's a really it's good to get your name out there and get some portfolio material before you graduate, learn how an agency runs. It's a good time. But a friend of mine sent in his logo, so without further ado, let's go ahead and open it up and look at what he's got for us. There we go. Alright, so in his email he let me know that this is a client who does like wedding planning, and like they do weddings at their farm, I'm assuming. I'm digging what you got. I do like the idea behind like the textures that you're introducing. However, I feel like there are far too many, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of ideas going on, and I do notice this a couple times coming from Jabril. I'm not calling him out, just saying. I do notice this because he does send me his stuff, and honestly, kudos to him, because it's really hard to accept criticism from people, and I definitely appreciate it. It's my favorite thing to do, is critique artwork, so it's really good for me, and it's good for Jabril, and it's good for anybody who wants to send me artwork, by the way. I'll put the link to my email where you can submit artwork below, or you can DM me for it or something. I'll give it to you. I guess I probably shouldn't link it, because then it might get spammers. So anyway, I'm just going to pick one of these to work with going forward, and the one I'm going to probably choose here is this one, because I think that the weight between farm and rendezvous is a little bit more synonymous, and the movement going towards farm definitely is the piece that I'm going to like. So I'm just going to draw another board over here for us to work with, and then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. And I like to work really small because I don't want to keep building more artboards, so I'm just going to zoom in and start working. So the problem that is going on with this logo here is that there's too many ideas. This, like the font, first of all, doesn't exactly scream wedding venue to me, and just picturing the general demographic of a wedding planner, it's probably going to be female, and a lot of these textures feel very aggressive. The font, it does have a nice free-flowing feel to it, but it also feels a little bit too graffiti-ish to me. You can get away with some serif fonts, but this one may be a little too generic for me as well. A lot of these small lines in here, along with the gradient and these textures, are just going to get lost anyway. Like if you zoom out, you can't really see a lot that's going on within this. It kind of feels muddy, if that makes sense. So what I would like to see more of is something that actually like says wedding. You know what I mean? So if I zoom out a little bit, let's get started. What I would like to see is something more along the lines of, let's say you just get this circle, and let's just make it a little bit smaller, and let's just switch these to strokes for giggles. What if I do something like this? Maybe make that bigger yet. This is just going to be really rough because, again, I'm working without a lot of knowledge on the client, and just with that information alone, gives you a very hard to design something super worthy of the client's time without having some sort of like mood board set up and sketches and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, this is just supposed to be some good feedback. It's not supposed to be something that you take and whatever I come up with, you run with that. But it's supposed to give you some ideas and kind of see like how my brain works working with real clients. And I mean, Northway does work with real clients, but just for other people watching this, when working with real clients, this is kind of my mindset, is I look at the element and I ask myself what it has to do with their business and who it's reaching out to. I do get this little pink here, maybe a little feminine, but you have 3 colors going on in the logo, which isn't a bad thing, but I don't necessarily think the colors are harmonious. I know, you know, they're counterparts, you know, complementary colors. There we go. I can't think of the word. But I know that's the case with this, but honestly, I try so hard to avoid that. And if they are complementary colors, they are very subtle. So anyway, getting back into the piece, I'm just going to shrink this down so I kind of have a reference point a little bit closer to my artwork. I do like the idea of the tree here because it kind of looks like to me at least, it kind of looks like a diamond. So you kind of have like the diamond shape here. I'm just going to use a pen so we can see. So you kind of have the diamond shape here. Oh boy, I have a texture on. Sorry. So there we go. So you kind of have a diamond shape within this. What the heck? Excuse me while I figure this out for a second. There we go. So you kind of have a diamond shape in the tree there, and then these twigs kind of make me feel like it's the little metal bracket that holds the diamond in place. So I'm gonna kind of run with that, and I think you could probably get something. You know, let's see here. If you played a little bit more with that diamond idea, I think would be a good route to go with this. And I'm just gonna go ahead and choose this color because I don't really want to be a gradient though. There's that, and let's just do that with this as well. Make it one color, just make it easy. So here's a little bit of our diamond. Let's rotate it. Not a fan of how thin this is, but it's just supposed to be a rough idea. And it's gonna bother me if I don't fix it though, so let's just fix it really quick. And what if I do that? Can't really see what's going on. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And we'll just kind of do one of these. And I'm actually going to change my mind about that. I'm going to make the square, and then I'm just going to turn it so I know exactly what I'm working with here. And I want to turn this into some leaves. I want to turn this into something that, because I like to keep that tree in there, because like you said, it's farm. Or I guess not like you said, but like the logo says, it is a farm, and I do want to keep a bit of that element in there. I think that's a good element as far as referring back to the location itself. But I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I'm just going to kind of we're going to choose a different color just so I can see what I'm doing. And let's just make like a plant kind of coming out of this. How does that sound? Just kind of do one of these. And now we can go ahead and eyedrop that. I better fix that. That's going to be a problem later. And then we're gonna create a bit of a inverse there. I didn't do a very good job at picking that out. Alright, and then we're gonna minus front, get something like that going. And then maybe there's a bit of something that comes out this way. really want to do this. Shift M. Let's go ahead and subtract this little inside space. Something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy right now. I'm just trying to get kind of an idea of what's going on. Let's go ahead and do this as well. Let's do... And I said I was going to keep it one color. Definitely lied about that. I want to switch these colors up a little bit because I want to give it some interest. Because I don't think that having a couple different colors is bad. I want it to be, you know, I don't know. I want it to be a little bit more simple is all. So I mean, look at, you get that, and like I said, this is not the shape I want on that, but you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? I hope there's a bit of simplicity that I think your design was lacking. You know, you want to get this general idea out without having to, oh yeah, and I made those too small, but you want to get this general idea out, and this looks like a male symbol. I really should have done some sketches, I guess. So maybe we'll just do that. I'll cut and we'll do some sketches, and we'll come back to this. All right. Hey everybody, sorry about that little pause there. Yeah, I just needed a little bit of time to sketch, and so I didn't really want to make you watch all of that. So it probably would have been helpful in a future episode. I'll go through my process and things like that, and maybe we'll get into that and show you some cool things, some cool tricks I do to make sure that I'm on task. So let me just close out this cue card again. Came up with a little icon. It's not, you know, I definitely would spend a lot more time on this, but it's the idea is that it's like a diamond and a leaf, negative space, just kind of adds like another element there. You can see how I made it. This is a bunch of little pieces right now. If I was to be making this for a client, I would definitely go in and clean this up a lot. I probably would like that a little bit better. Maybe twist this a little bit more so it's the same angle as the leaf. You kind of lose the diamond ring in it a little bit. Like I said, this is just a rough idea to give you somewhat of what I would be aiming for if I was doing a logo for a client like this. Another problem that we're facing is your font, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. So let's go ahead and move forward with the logo that I made and just kind of get a general idea of how to do this, how to choose a font, and why choose a font. Like, why would you choose this font versus a different font, and why would you choose that font versus this font, and all kinds of questions like that. Let's group this back up. So font is a really funny thing to work with. When I was in Northway, a lot of what I did was extremely exotic fonts. You can see some of them that I have here. I'm like, oh, you know what, this is definitely going to be a useful font someday for weddings, and you can't even read it. So I mean, it's just like, okay, I see on my screen that this didn't get big enough for you to really look at. I mean, it's a cool font, but you can't do anything with it as far as logos go. Remember that when you're making a logo, it's something that someone should be able to see once and recreate it at least close with pencil. So you flash this image to somebody, and then a minute later you say, hey, draw that logo that you just saw. And if they can't draw it, there's a chance that it's not designed well. Because you have to understand where this is going to be. There's going to be a billion other people's logos standing there next to it. And if it's not perfect, people are going to not remember it. Yeah, so simplicity is key. And on that note, you want to keep your fonts memorable. You want to keep something simple. I don't have the currency right now to have Helvetica or Universe, but I would definitely recommend downloading those two if you have that option. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and look through some of my fonts. I know for a fact that if this is for a wedding venue, you're probably going to want something a little bit more scripty, but the logo that I designed wouldn't really pair well with that. So maybe we're going to go with a little Pacifico. And we're going to say rendezvous. Look at that. See the round edges and everything really paired nicely with the icon, and honestly icons shouldn't be that big, and you can pop it in here. A lot of times I see people make icons too big and it's just not necessary. So, and let's just write out farm. It looks like you want that in lowercase and uppercase. Oops. So let's go ahead and do that. I think I goofed. Okay, no I didn't. Let's change that font. And I do like Lane, but that might be too much contrast. So let's go ahead and pick a different font. Well, some serif fonts do pair well with scripty fonts or brush fonts, but not often. Like that one I do like together, but not in this situation. And a lot of this for me is trial and error. I use a lot of, especially at work, I use a lot of the same fonts over and over because I know they work well together. But in this case, let's try Oswald. There we go, just regular. And maybe it just stands right there. It doesn't have to be on a separate line, but I don't want it to be that big though. And maybe the logo comes over here where it splits. Not a fan of that actually. But yeah, like I said, you kind of have to play around. Maybe this goes down here, and that's how it fits together. No, that doesn't really look right. Let's see. Maybe this font is just too big right now, and it needs to be smaller, and it needs to be further away. Separate words. And this needs to just go back here, and it needs to be a standalone thing. Maybe it needs to go in the middle. You know, it's hard to say. Maybe this doesn't even want to be like that at all, and it wants to be. Let's see. Let's make an ellipses, and let's do this, and then let's do type on a path. Maybe it wants to be like, oof, not vertical. Sorry about that, folks. Type on a path. There we go. Maybe it wants to be farm, and it does want to be all caps. And it wants to be on the inside. Come on now. Wow, I've never struggled with this so much. Yeah, come on. Well, whatever. Maybe it'll let me do it. Oh, it's right here. Duh. Jeez. Cody, was this your first day? And let's just do this. And then we can rotate it. It's a bit hard to read. I don't really want to use this font. Let's just go with Lane. Why not? And we're going to give this a little bit better spacing because it's kind of hard to read right now. Yeah, maybe it wants to be something like that. I don't know. I'm not your parent. I can't tell you how to design things, but I can give you advice. You know, it's very, whoop, I have it aligned to artboard right now apparently. Yeah, I don't know. In retrospect, I probably wouldn't do that. That's kind of hard to read. And what are you going to do with that, you know? Let's see. Maybe we want to do something different. And this doesn't want to say that at all. But we want this. Copy. Paste. Oops, that's just a V. Alright. It's a little bit easier to read, isn't it? Can't put it above because then you're going to read it wrong. You put it below. Why not? Rendezvous Farm. And I'm still running into a similar issue that we were having before, and that's just the simple fact that I don't feel like this shouts wedding very much, you know, and their wedding planner. I don't know that I would know that this is a wedding planner just from looking at it. But yeah, I mean that's generally the route that I would probably go with it though. Is I'd probably go with more of a simple look, because girls in general, not to stereotype, but a lot of girls when they're looking at wedding planners, they're going to want to look something that's elegant. They're going to want to look at something that's a little bit more sophisticated. And if you're looking at like this font, it's more on the aggressive side of script fonts. You know, it's a little bit less on the pretty and elegant side. You know, maybe you want to go with something else. You know, this might be getting a little long, and maybe I don't really need to go this far into it, because you might just get the idea already. But I don't know, I enjoy watching other people's processes, so, you know, maybe you want just this. You can't read that. Don't do that. Plus, you're gonna look like everybody else. Maybe Clarissa. That's kind of a pretty thing. You can't really read it, but maybe you make it a little bit bigger. Rendezvous Farm. You know, maybe it's something like that. Maybe you put this back here and you lower the opacity for now, just for the elegant look. Maybe something along those lines. Maybe not. Maybe you turn the opacity all the way back up. And that's the thing too, is, you know, maybe you don't stick with these colors. Maybe you don't stick with them at all. Or maybe, ooh, that's a playful idea that I didn't think about until just now. You can go in between them, and that would be a fun way for these two bodies to play together. You know what's another really fun font? Lobster. That's a fun font, but it's a little aggressive for this situation. So, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's really up to you. I can't tell you how to make your logo, but I can give you advice. And so yeah, if this was, no, I like that one. That's caps. Maybe you got 2 spaces between each one. You just got something like this. Need some breathing room there. So that's the problem, is like I don't pick a lot of clients like this because I'm not a huge fan of designing for weddings. I don't like script fonts really, because I want these to play together better, but they just make it hard to read. So it's hard. It's hard to find a perfect balance for these things, but that's what you're getting paid for. And I think we're just gonna settle on this, to be honest. Just for the video's purpose, we're just gonna settle on that one. And let's just see in the comments below what other people think. Do they like the new logo? Did I trash it? Did I destroy the entire thing? Because I don't know. Maybe I'm not the best designer that I thought I was. Did I destroy this logo? Or did I make it? Did I break it? Or did I just fake it? I don't know. You tell me. Alright everybody, well thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think about my logo, and Jabril, I hope this helped you, and I'll see you next time in the next logo critique. Take it easy.